All right, here we go. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Tonight we are going to make ourselves some stuffed peppers, and then perfect for the amount of cheesy potatoes that I cooked last night. It's going to make a nice side dish. And then what I like to do with them, because sometimes there can just be too much that is in a stuffed pepper, I like to make a nice like tomato cream sauce that goes over the top of that. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that quite easily this evening. First things first, put my apron on, and then I'm going to wash my damn hands. I feel like this is like my Mr. Rogers routine. Like I go and I put my apron on every night. Oh man. So I had some questions about what was coming up and if I'm ever gonna, probably, the Berliners wanted to know if I'm ever gonna cook any dishes without meat. I am gonna dedicate all of next week to some of my favorite vegetarian dishes. I don't know a lot of them, but I've got enough to fill a Monday through a Friday, so that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, hi boys. Oh, you guys are watching from Tipsy Bear? Girl, bring a bitch a bottle of vodka. She's running low. Actually, scratch that. Gin. All right, let's wash our damn hands, huh? Like I said, I like this to be kind of funny and informative. But right now, because it bears it, I want to give a shout out to all of my friends, family, and loved ones. The feeder family of Northeastern Ohio lost a wonderful person today. Mark Heffernan was just a wonderfully talented, funny, and loving individual. So my heart goes out to all of Mark's family and friends that are going through that right now. This thing's not over, kids. Keep yourselves safe. Keep yourselves happy. All right, let's get down to cooking. So tonight you are going to need, if you're doing it for a large family, the recipe is pretty easy. I've cut it in half because there's no one here. So you're going to need 3 bell peppers. You're going to need half of a white onion. You're going to need 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. You're going to need rice, and you're going to need ground beef. A lot of people, you can use really whatever you want. If you're not a beef person, you can use a chicken. Your cooking times will vary. Some people like lamb, pork, whatever. You're just going to need a ground meat of any kind. I've already preheat the oven to 175, 190, somewhere in that range, 350 for the Americans. And it's a pretty simple dish. It shouldn't take us too long. It's basically just going to be a lot of slice and dicing, and we're going to cook some shit together. So the first thing... Oh, you're also going to need tomatoes and tomato paste. Sorry. Once again, when I put the video up on YouTube, I'll give you all of the proper ingredients. So we're going to get right to it. We've got our oven preheated and everything, okay? I'm going to drag you guys over. Let's give you the chopping board view. Now, most people know how to do this, but just in case you don't, I'm going to show you how we chop garlic. So first of all, you're going to peel your cloves off of the bulb. That one's for you, Kenny. Take any knife you have. I take my large chef's knife, right? You're going to take it flat side down, blade away from you always. You don't want to slip and come into yourself. I got a leather apron, so that's nice. Just go right on top, and you're just going to give this a press down onto all of your cloves here. You can hear them crunch and crack. And all that's going to do is it's going to make it a lot easier for you to go in here and remove the skin from your garlic. And then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to chop this all up. You don't want to have any of the garlic skin in there because it doesn't have any flavor and the texture is for shit. And it's just flat out unprofessional. Today, I came home from shopping and found that my little demon of a dog, Ruger, for those of you that have or have not met him, he's normally a very well-behaved boy, But my fat ass left a bunch of M&Ms on the table, and guess who decided they wanted lunch? And they wanted chocolate for lunch. So he has been sitting in his dog bed, asleep, knowing that he's a bad boy, and also probably has an upset stomach. I don't think he's going to be too sick. He would have been sick already. We all know that cocoa's not good for dogs, but he's an asshole. So I've been keeping an eye on him, but he's fine, because he's already hanging out at the kitchen, wondering if he's going to get any of this, which he's not. So we skipped lunch today because he decided M&Ms were for lunch. So once you've got your garlic all chopped up here, we're just going to basically get right going with everything. It's all going to go into the pan. Right now I can scrape this off to the side, and I'm going to show you what we're doing with the peppers here. Obviously, wash all of your produce. That should be in any way. Today I've got us a nice little tri-colored thing going on here. We're going to take the tops off, come down enough so that you get a nice round pepper top there. And you're just going to take all the seeds out and everything. Let's try not to get our seeds in. Make sure we're going to shave down the membranes as well. Now, some people like to dice the tops and put them in. I like to keep the tops on top because it keeps everything nice and juicy when it's in the oven, right? So we can just go in here and we're just going to take out our membranes because we don't want any of that. We just want full-on pepper. Try not to go through the pepper like I'm doing on every one of these. They should actually be pretty easy to just tear out if you want. So that is uno. Let's bring this one down. Then I'm going to show you guys a little secret as well for when you're serving these. It's quite easy. We're just going to put a little slice on the bottom to give ourselves a little flat edge. These are, now, unfortunately, this was the only selection I had at the market today. But the idea is you actually want to pepper about this deep, maybe even deeper. But, you know, we're going to make do with what we have. Try and get as much out of there so we have the filling. Now, for the bottoms, to make sure they can stand up, don't go through the pepper. But if you just come just a hairline down and you just cut it like so, give you a nice edge and it'll stand up nicely when it's on the plate. Makes it easier to eat. Some people like it Italian style where you go down the middle and you open the pepper up. I like to serve it like this. And, you know, whatever your preference is, whatever floats your boat, as they say. Doesn't take much to float mine. I never really take it out of the dock. Double entendres. Okay, look, so now all of our peppers are standing. We're good to go there. So let's start sauteing. Bring you guys over here. There we are. Now, you guys know that I love using butter. We are not going to use butter today, but what we are going to do, because there's not a lot of fat content in our meat, you can see here, you'll know if you have a high fat content, it's actually going to be a lighter color, but because it's pretty red, I can see I've got a low fat content. So I'm going to use an extremely, well, I was going to say healthy, but unhealthy amount of olive oil, because I really want everything to mix in, because we're going to bake these off, and you don't want it to get dry on the end. So the first thing that's going to go in is all that beautifully chopped garlic we just started with. And I'm going to put this in before my oil gets up to heat. Let that get going. And then once you can see these start to cook down is when we're going to add in our onions. And we're going to kick the heat down a little bit towards medium because we want to actually sweat the onions, not cook them, because they're going to be in the oven for quite some time. So in the meantime, while that heats up, make yourselves a cocktail, take a sip. Cheers. I hope everyone's not bored out of their damn mind. I've been losing it a little bit. Just me and the dog. It's been great. Watching every movie available to mankind. All right, our garlic's starting to come up now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring you guys back over and we're going to get all our ingredients going quickly after we sweat our onions out. We're going to take this heat down to medium. This is half of a chopped white onion. And I'm going to save our seasoning until I get my meat in here. or sorry, I'm going to save my seasoning till right before I put my meat in. So as soon as I see that my onions start to sweat, and all you're doing when you're sweating onions is it's a really low heat in a hot oil or a butter, and you're going to look for that almost kind of translucent. They're not going to be see-through, but you guys will be able to see it in the pan. It's not that difficult. You're just frying onions. Once again, I try not to make any dishes that you can truly, truly screw up. That's looking lovely. So's this. All right, now as I always do, because it's kind of boring, I've already cooked off some rice. To the rice, because I like things spicy, I've added some jalapenos and a little bit of chilies, and sorry about that, guys. I was getting a phone call. Gorgeous. All right, so what I'm putting in today is I'm going to put in a little bit of smoked paprika, because I like that kind of smoky flavor. And then just any classic Italian seasoning. If you have Italian seasoning that doesn't have garlic in it already, put some garlic, salt, or powder in. But I've got the Italian seasoning that has it added. Liberal, be liberal with it. And of course, as always, salt and pepper, guys. You can see our onions are starting to get to right where we want them. Gorgeous. I'm going to go ahead and start folding my meat in. This is a half pound of meat. The actual recipe will call for a full pound. And we're going to do it like we did with the sausage for the gravy on one of the earlier shows. We're going to make sure that we kind of mash this all up. We want really tiny bits in there. And then we're just going to get this to a browned point. Because when it goes into the oven, we're actually just trying to kind of soften the peppers up a bit. Super simple dish, but a lot of... I find that the simpler the dish, you know, if you just get yourself 4 or 5 ingredients in there, better the flavor. It's kind of true home cooking. You don't have to have 15 difficult things going on. I apologize for my uneven stove. All you can hear is the pot clanging around, which is annoying as hell. At least to me it is. It's all nice and broken up. Wait for that to all brown off. See how these onions have kind of almost become a translucent or transparent? That's what happens when you sweat onions. All right, that's looking good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold in our rice here. And then lastly, we're going to get in our diced tomatoes. Unfortunately, the tomatoes in the store today looked like shite. So I bought a can of tomatoes with a little bit of paste in there. Let this all kind of come in together. That is going to be lovely. Super, super simple. Let this all come up to heat a little bit. Get all the flavors mixed in and congealed. Now, while that's doing that, I'm going to take a sip of my bevy. What was the rice again? Hi, Stephanie. The rice was just a white rice that I mixed with a little bit of some chili peppers, some jalapenos, and some tomato paste. You can use, some people just use white rice. You can really use whatever you want. All right, let's get you guys up here back to the pepper station. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bread pan, because this works perfectly, and I'm just going to put in just a scotch of water for the steam, but the brown paper is so that they don't burn on the bottom. And I'm just going to stack my peppers in like this. Go ahead and bring the heat down on this, and we're just going to spoon this in. That's all we're going to do. Take this whole lovely mess, and we're just going to make sure it's really tightly packed. And of course, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these go. Now the bake time's about an hour on these bad boys, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go about 45 minutes, and then I'm going to pull them out. I'm going to take the tops off, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pack, I'm going to put a bunch of shredded cheese on top. I like a shredded cheddar. I actually have a bunch of that cheese mix that I used yesterday, still in the fridge. So I'm going to use some of that and go over the top and let these melt. And then the good thing is, while this is going for that last 15 minutes after I pull the tops off, is that I'm going to be able to put in those cheesy potato gratin from last night, and those will bring up to temp. And once again, like I said, everything will be good and ready at the same time to hit the plate. Go ahead, we're going to throw our caps back on. Break that stem off, no need for that. Like so. Take your olive oil, and a little hint when you're drizzling, you can use your thumb right here, right? That gives you a little bit of control. I'm just going to drizzle some oil on the top there. Now, some people cover these. I actually like it because what's going to happen is these are going to charcoal up. These will actually burn while the steam softens the pepper inside. And then you can remove these. You can use them as a garnish or anything like that. So I'm going to set you guys back up while I pop these in the oven, and then we'll get started on the sauce. Those are going to be perfect. All right. So for the sauce, I'm just going to get started in a little saucepan like so. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get some more garlic because I like the flavor. Get some cloves of garlic going here. Oh, lost the pepper top. Oh, man. What's everyone saying here while I'm peeling garlic? Hi, Lois. Delicious. Oh, hi, Riff. How's it going in the UK? Hopefully you guys are just dandy. Oh, this floor's going to be a mess. I've dropped peppers and garlic. Well, I guess I'll just do what I did today and yesterday and the day before and the day before that. I guess I'll just clean. Maybe I'll switch it up and, oh wait, no. I'll just do more laundry. Oh, the days are starting to run together, kids. Pandemic. They make it look so much more exciting in the movies. So this, I'm just going to kind of give it a nice coarse cut on it. Doesn't have to be too fine. Bring ourselves up to a medium heat. And in here. Once again, ourselves a little olive oil. Get some garlic going in here. I'm going to take the rest of that can of tomatoes in their own jus. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce, right? So we'll take about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. You know, exact measurements on my show. Then we're just going to take a simple can of tomato paste. Super simple. About 2 heaping spoons of that. Okay. Get this all going. Oh, that Worcestershire smells delicious. Salt and pepper on everything. I like this because this is super, super easy to do, guys. And it goes great over the top of those peppers. Once again, I don't want to be wasteful, so there's no TV magic here. You're gonna have to wait for it in the end. Now we don't need any of this to go for too long because we actually want all of those kind of flavors to come out differently rather than together. Then I go ahead and do a splash of red wine. I'm gonna let this come up to just a simmer or a boil. Oh, that smells. I mean, I might just drink this if I get bored. Just a little. Just kidding, the alcohol cooks out. All right. That's where we want it. I'm going to bring this heat down to the lowest possible setting. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do about a 1/4 cup of that heavy cream again. And then we can just kind of let this sit. All those flavors can stand out on their own in one big nice paste. We can just set this off to the side. And that, although it was quick tonight, kids, that's dinner. We're gonna drizzle that over. Like I said, we're gonna let those peppers bake for 45 minutes. I'm gonna pull them out. I'm gonna pull the tops off. I'm gonna sprinkle a bunch of cheese all over the top. Some people do breadcrumbs. You can do cheese and breadcrumbs. And then I'm gonna let them go for their last 15 minutes. Let that cheese really melt and kind of brown over like when you get a nice macaroni and cheese and it's all kind of browned and golden on the top. And then we're gonna put it next to, we're gonna put those cheesy potatoes in the same time that I put the cheese or the breadcrumbs on top. And then everything will finish off in that last 15, 20 minutes. And then you can heat your sauce back up. And we're going to drizzle that all over the top of it. Put some nice chives over our cheesy potatoes. And you've got a beautiful, wonderful dinner that took you about 15, 20 minutes to prep. Now I can sit down and have my cocktail for an hour. Thank you everyone for watching. I love you all. Remember, as I say every day, we are dealing with a pandemic. Wash your hands, isolate, but more importantly, mental health and emotional health are just as much a disease as a physical disease. I love you all. Stay safe. Call me if you need me. Mwah!